Hi everyone, I'm True Soul, and this is a new collection display update video. So yeah guys, as some of you that have been following my channel for a while, as you can see, I got a new display shelf. So as of right now, my entire Star Wars collection is displayed, and I also got a couple of other collectibles here and there. But I'm pretty much going to be giving you guys a rundown of my entire collection, so strap in, buckle up, because this is going to be a long video probably. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take you guys through some of the other displays, and I'm going to save Star Wars for last because that's probably the most. So let's go ahead and dive down here to the bottom right. I do collect quite a bit of Marvel, guys. I haven't really been collecting them that much anymore, because when it comes to Marvel, I have pretty much all the ones that I want. X-Men, Avengers, Spider-Man. So right now what you're seeing right here is kind of a mesh of X-Men and a couple of other guys. I gave the Avengers their own shelf, and you'll see that in a minute. Most of the X-Men I got from X-Men the Animated Series. I grew up watching that show, so I pretty much wanted, you know, the core team from that show, and I got a couple of others. Here I got my Iceman, was my favorite X-Men growing up. Actually, like these three, Beast, Iceman, Nightcrawler, were probably my favorite X-Men characters growing up. Got MODOK in the bag there. Sometimes he wants to stay up and sometimes he doesn't. I got him in a really good place right now, so probably not going to be moving him anytime soon. Got a couple of other villain heavy hitters: Ultron, Doctor Doom, Thanos, Loki, Red Skull. Got a couple of Spider-Man villains over here. I am eventually going to be giving the Spider-Man characters their own shelf, and the shelf that I'm going to be giving them is actually to the left over here, so we're going to go ahead and move over here. I'm not really sure what to call this shelf, guys. I was trying to make a shelf for like some of the more dark, gritty characters. As you can see, the Punisher, Moon Knight, got Blade, Ghost Rider, but it kind of turned into kind of a miscellaneous. So what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to move my Spider-Man characters over here, and then take the ones that aren't Spider-Man characters and put them over on the other shelf. But back here, you can see I got Blackheart. Don't know if you can see him back there. He's actually a Build-A-Figure, so for those of you who don't know Marvel Legends, and they've been doing this since I was a kid, they'll do this thing where they'll come out with a wave of figures, and each character will come with a different piece of a bigger figure. And even when me and my brother, when we were kids, we could never get all of them to actually finish a character. So this is the first Build-A-Figure that I've ever been able to complete, so pretty happy with that. And we're gonna go ahead and move one shelf up. This is my anime shelf, guys. Mostly a lot of Naruto, and then I got a couple of everybody else. Got Goku and Phoenix Iki in the back there from Saint Seiya. I like that anime a lot. Pacing could use some work. Got Guts in the back there. Got Mikasa, and she is a Figma figure. I got her off of Amazon for actually a pretty decent price. Of course, you got All Might, and then I got my Pokemon figures here. I know they originally were like, you know, the cards and then the video game and all that stuff, but most of my knowledge of Pokemon is from the TV show, so that's why they're here. Got Deku and the homie Shoto Todoroki in the back. Now I do got a couple more anime figures coming. I did pre-order Hinata, so she's coming at some point, and then she's going to be going up on this shelf. Moving forward, I am primarily going to be focusing on Naruto, since that's my favorite anime, but this shelf is going to be getting a little bit bigger, so stay tuned for that. Now we're going to go move another shelf up. Now this shelf I'm going to call it my TV show / movie shelf. Now I did move a couple of figures and I'll show you where they are in a minute. But as you can see, I got, well, first let's talk about this Michelangelo here. So this is a Michelangelo from Super 7. And for any of you who know Super 7s, you know, they're usually pretty pricey. But the reason I went ahead and got this Michelangelo is because this is the 2003 version from the 2003 TV show, which was what I grew up with, my favorite version of the Turtles. So I figured I'd at least get my favorite turtle, Michelangelo. Probably not gonna get the other 3 turtles, but we'll see. Of course, we got Snoopy. Snoopy, I think, is also Super 7 from the Reaction line. I wanted to get a Charlie Brown, but I couldn't find one that I liked. They made like multiple versions, so I'm gonna have to find them at some point. Of course, you got the Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I got all of them displayed except for the White Ranger. I just need to dig him out of my storage, but once I do, he'll be going up here. And then I got Sonic. Now, these are the movie Sonic figures, so that's why they're up here instead of with my video game shelf, which I'll show you guys later. Over here we got Starlight from the Boys series, if any of you have seen that. One of the only supers that's not a complete jerk. And of course I got G.I. Joe, got Duke, Scarlet, and Cobra Commander. I do have some more G.I. Joe figures, and I still have some space up here to display them, so later on down the line I will be displaying those as well. But I'm going to show you a couple of my other movie figures that aren't on this shelf. So this is the only shelf I have that's dedicated to like movies I actually have. So I thought it would be kind of cool to put some of my figures up here. I got Mafex Terminator, and I believe that's the one from, I can't remember if that's the one from Terminator 1 or Terminator 2. I'm gonna have to go back and fact check. Of course, I got Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, one of my favorite Spider-Man from one of my favorite Spider-Man films. Of course, you got Indiana Jones and Predator. I cannot remember which Predator. The box said Fugitive on it. This is a Fugitive Predator. This is from the NECA series. And now we're gonna move another shelf up. Give me a minute, because I'm gonna have to stand up because I'm sitting down. And here we go. This is my video game shelf, guys, so it's pretty stacked. See, I got some Nintendo. I got Mario and Luigi. Didn't really grow up playing a lot of Nintendo games. The only Nintendo console I had was the GameCube, and I think my favorite game on there was, I had like Lego Star Wars, and then we had Luigi's Mansion, and that's what really made me start really liking Luigi. I mean, Mario's okay, but I'm more of a Luigi guy personally. Got Link over here. You gotta have Link. This is the Figma Art Link. Got him off of Amazon as well. Oh, that's a lie. I got him off of Big Bad Toy Store. Of course, you got Mega Man. This is Jada Toys Mega Man. They've been doing some really good work lately with their like Mega Man and Street Fighter figures, and they're pretty fair price, so you're not gonna break the bank buying them. Got a crewmate and an imposter from Among Us. Got Steve from Minecraft. Gotta have Steve from Minecraft. Got a creeper in the back here. Some TNT. And then we got Kratos and Atreus from God of War. This line, I don't even remember the name of it. I don't think they gave it an official name, but it's pretty much, they make like PlayStation characters, or like characters that were like in like PlayStation games. And it's a little sad because they've only really been making ones for more modern games. So like no Crash Bandicoot or something like that, which I think would be pretty cool. Might buy that if they made that. But anyway, enough rambling, let's keep moving. Up here to Street Fighter. And I've been getting a good bit of these Street Fighters. All of these except for Ryu and Akuma are from the Jada series. And one thing I like about the Jada series is they're pretty high quality, while at the same time they're like cheaper, so if you don't feel like paying the price for SH Figure Arts, you can buy those. And they pretty much made all the characters from like the Street Fighter 2 games. I think they're starting to make Alpha next, so I'm really looking forward to that. Of course, I got a little bit of Overwatch over here. It's kind of sad because Hasbro stopped making Overwatch figures, and I feel like they made some pretty cool, interesting characters since they stopped, so sadly we're never going to see those. And up top here, of course, I got my Jazzware. These are my Jazzware Fortnite figures. Now, I don't think Jazzwares has a license to Fortnite anymore, at least not 6-inch. But I really do like, these are some of, like, you know, I guess the skins that I liked the most from Fortnite. They're pretty iconic, mostly Black Knight, Jonesy, Peely. I know a lot of people didn't really like these figures because the way the hands were made, they had like this one hand joint that opened and closed, and some people thought it was a little weird. But I also have the Hasbro Fortnite figures. I don't have them displayed at the moment. I'm working on, you know, trying to display all of that, but we'll see what happens. Alright, and this is the last shelf from the center. Now this is my Avengers slash Fantastic Four, and yeah, I got a couple of X-Men over here, but that's just because I already had Cyclops and Wolverine in my other show, so like I'll just put them over here. Of course, I got Deadpool. This is probably one of the best Deadpool figures that they've made so far. This one came in a 2-pack with like this Hydra agent named Bob. Not too familiar with him. Of course, I got my Spider-Man in the center. This Spider-Man is probably my favorite Marvel superhero. And the sculpting on this one decent, although I'm mostly just using for displays. I'm planning on getting another Spider-Man for my actual stop motion, something with a little more joints, a little more room for me to work with. Captain America, Iron Man, of course. Got Hulk and Thor in the back there. Got Black Panther. This one did come with a cape, but I kind of thought the cape was kind of weird because I'm not used to Black Panther having a cape, so I took the cape off. Got Black Widow, Hawkeye, Winter Soldier. If I were going to get any more Marvel figures for my collection, I'd probably want to get a Vision and a Scarlet Witch. I feel like those are two members of the Avengers that are, and maybe Ant-Man. Those are probably the only three I can think of getting to like fully complete my Avengers team. But alright, enough of that stuff. Let's move on to what really matters, which is Star Wars. So up here I got my Lego Star Wars logo. Scout Trooper. Now this is the one from Mandalorian, for those of you who watched it. So Grogu's in that little bag. You can kind of see him in there. And then over here I got Battle Droid with Stab Speeders from episode 1. And then I got this monkey lizard guy. I can't pronounce his name correctly, so there it is. For those of you who are more educated than I am. Now this guy was actually a Christmas present from a friend of mine who had found it at, I can't remember what store he went to, but this is like one of those old Kenner little plushies, so I thought that was pretty cool. And over to the right over here, there's a couple of my other miscellaneous Star Wars related stuff that most of them have been gifts I could been given. This guy is like one of those, so Hasbro does these holiday editions of like different Star Wars characters, and I think this guy's supposed to be like a Halloween edition of like a clone trooper. I thought he looked cool, so I went ahead and got him. The problem is I can't really find a spot on my other shelves where he fits, so he's sitting up here all by himself. But I think he's a pretty cool looking figure. I heard that he's supposed to glow in the dark, but I've turned the lights off multiple times and I don't see him glowing, so that's a little bit of a bummer. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the left over here, and I'm gonna just take you guys through all my Star Wars shelves. I tried to order my shelves chronologically. So I got my Knights of the Old Republic figures, Darth Revan. Probably one of my favorite figures that I own. He's a little difficult to get now. His posability is not the best, but I just like the way he looks. Over here I got Darth Malgus. No! Oh no. Is that Darth Malgus? No! Yeah, that's Malgus. No! So this is Darth Malik, guys, not Malgus. Malgus and Malik are two completely different people. But yeah, this is Darth Malik, who was an apprentice of Darth Revan over here. And then, now these two aren't Old Republic, but I couldn't find anywhere else to put them. This is Jaina Solo from the Expanded Universe stuff. This is before, like, Disney took over. And we got Moira Jade over here. Both pretty decent figures. Really was not expecting either one of them to be made. Jaina Solo right here, the only reason they made a figure of her because she won a fan vote. They let people actually vote on what figure they wanted them to make. So they made Jaina Solo, who is the daughter of, you know, Han Solo. Hence the last name. She has a brother, Jason Solo. I'd really like them to make him. That's probably not going to happen, but hey, fingers crossed. So we're gonna head over here to some more Knights of the Old Republic. We got Bastila Shaw, pretty cool, unique Jedi figure that they made. And over here we got Darth Nihilus. Now you guys are probably noticing, I made a video unboxing Darth Nihilus a while ago, and I mentioned that he was kind of a lazy figure because they used a lot of reuse. They put him on a old Darth Maul body that doesn't stand up very well, so what I did is I took a Kylo Ren figure, because I kind of like the way they make the sculpts for Kylo Ren, and I pretty much gave Darth Nihilus that body. I'm not completely done with him yet. I kind of want to give him more of a poncho instead of this cloth piece. I think it'll look a lot better, but I'll show you guys that at some point when I'm done. And then over here, the only Acolyte figure I have at the moment, Jedi Master Soul, or as I call him, Jedi Master Squid Games. I'm probably going to get the other Acolyte figures, although I mostly was planning on getting them to kind of be like fodder. I have a couple of custom ideas that I want to do. I feel like I can use them for that. But that's enough of that. Let's go ahead and head down to probably my favorite era of Star Wars. We got Clone Wars / prequel shelf. This is mostly the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. I got my Phantom Menace figures up here. Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Darth Maul, Padme, got Anakin over here, and of course, the true Sith Lord, Jar Jar Binks. Got one Droideka, which I really like a lot. I just wish you could kind of transform him into his ball form a little easier, because I've been trying to do it and it's really difficult for me to do. Of course, down here we got Jango Fett. I think this is the first release. They are making a new Jango Fett with a updated sculpt and posability, so I'm probably gonna end up getting that one at some point. And of course we got our Clone Troopers. Got Phase 1 Clone Trooper, got Captain Rex, Clone Captains, and this is, we got a Clone Armored Obi-Wan. This is a Walgreens exclusive, or he was a Walgreens exclusive, but I ended up getting him off of eBay. Over here we got a B1 Battle Droid. I think this B1 Battle Droid, he is from the, what game is he from? Republic Commandos, which I kind of feel bad because I still don't have any Republic Commandos. I need to get some Clone Commandos at some point. Got a couple more droids here. Count Dooku, really good figure. I really like how he turned out. Super Battle Droid, and I got the BX Commando Droid. I like him for the most part. I kind of wish his posability was a little better, because sometimes I can't get him to stand up the way they made his legs. So that is a bit of a bummer. Now let's go ahead and head down here to all these Jedi. And they have really been cranking out the prequel Jedi lately, so I'm really happy about that. We got Kit Fisto. He was one of my favorite Jedi growing up. I really like the alien Jedi. I just like, you know, how unique they looked and whatnot. We got Ayla Sakura, Shock T, Luminara. Okay, Padme's not a Jedi, but we got Attack of the Clones Padme. Pretty decent figure. I just don't really like the way they made the legs. If you try to make her like sit down, she like, you can't really do it properly. She kind of like spreads out and it's a little annoying. So hopefully they make a newer figure and improve on that. Also got Attack of the Clones Anakin. His sculpt also could use an update. Obi-Wan's is actually pretty good. You can see the pose that I have Obi-Wan in right now. I struggle to put Anakin in that pose. That's how limited the articulation is. Of course, we got Samuel L. Jackson himself, Mace Windu, Ki-Adi-Mundi, and Plo Koon. Now, I also have Master Yoda down here. This is one of the first Yodas that they came out with. Now, technically, this is not a prequel figure. But I went ahead and put him here because I have a Yoda somewhere else in the display. I have a Yoda on my Empire shelf, my Empire Strikes Back shelf. So I went ahead and put this Yoda here. And he's pretty much going to be a placeholder until I get a, prequel Clone Wars Yoda. They already made one, but he's in a 2-pack, so I'm kind of just waiting for them to release him as a single, which they'll do eventually. They always do. With those 2-packs, they usually end up releasing, a single pack. But we're going to go ahead and move away from Attack of the Clones and go down here to my Clone Wars / Revenge of the Sith shelf. As you can see, I do have a soft spot for the 501st. I think I have more 501st troopers than anyone else. But most of the 501st troopers are on kind of the older clone body, and like most of the older figures, this articulation was limited. They have made some new ones, but the new 501st troopers that they made were part of like a Revenge of the Sith anniversary pack. So I'm kind of hoping they release those for like the main line. Of course, I got Revenge of the Sith Anakin. Now this robe that he came with, I actually bought this robe off of Amazon. It was pretty cheap. I just felt like that Anakin should have some type of Jedi robe, and I didn't have a whole lot of those lying around, so I went ahead and bought one. Down here we got Darth Sidious. He's a pretty good looking figure, although his articulation is kind of limited because his hood is a plastic piece instead of a cloth piece, like how they did with the first Sidious that they made. Moving over, we got Saj Ventress, we got General Grievous with one of his Magna Guards, and I do need to get another Magna Guard. I want to at least have 2 of, like, guard characters. So I do need to get another Magna Guard. But this is the Magna Guard from, like, the Clone Wars show, so he has, like, the Clone Wars colors. So it's not as dark as how they looked in the movie. Might get one more of this guy. Moving over, let me see if I can say this name right. I think it's Aura Singh? She's Bounty Hunter, also from Clone Wars. Made a small appearance in The Phantom Menace, actually. You only see her for like a couple seconds. And over here I got this is a Umbara clone trooper, Umbara ARC trooper. And this is from the Gaming Greats series. So you can actually get this skin in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Which I always thought was kind of funny because in the Umbara ARC in the Clone Wars show, you don't see anyone like this, so I just thought it was funny that they called him a Umbara clone trooper, and you don't see people like that. Savage Opress, very cool figure. I was waiting for them to make this guy a very big, imposing character. I like him a lot. We're gonna move on down to some more clones. This is Commander Bakara, I think. He served under Ki-Adi-Mundi. And I gave him two blasters in each hand because apparently his boys are known for being a little aggressive, so I gave him some extra firepower. Got some clone shock troopers, the Coruscant Guard. And over here we got Echo, ARC Trooper Echo. Got a couple of Phase 3 clone troopers. And this one over here is one on the older body. I kind of dirtied him up just so it wouldn't be a shiny. I might dirty up a couple of the other ones as I get them. And over here we got 212 Clone Trooper. Now this Clone Trooper is also from the Clone Wars series. The gray would make you think he's from the Wolfpack, but technically they just said he's like a Kamino Clone Trooper, so I don't really know. I usually put him beside Commander Wolf because, I mean, the gray looks like he would be in Wolfpack, so. And over here we got Commander Bly. So we got a whole lot of Clone Troopers right here. Now we're going to move down one more. And this is where I have most of the Clone Commanders. So I got Commander Gree. Commander Gree was a Toys R Us exclusive. He was one of the last action figures that I bought from Toys R Us before they closed most of them down here in the US. I think you can only find them in, like, if you go into a Macy's, I think they have them in there. Got Clone Commander Fox. Got Captain Rex. And then over here I got Clone Wars Anakin and Ahsoka Tano. Was really waiting for them to make a Clone Wars Ahsoka, so I'm glad that I finally got both her and Anakin in their Clone Wars attire. Still don't have a Clone Wars Obi-Wan, so right here I have my Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan, and beside him is the Revenge of the Sith Anniversary Commander Cody. Now this one, unlike the original one, you can actually take his helmet off, and he comes with the little Execute Order 66 thing on. So then that's pretty cool. Of course, got Commander Wolf, and then I got another Ahsoka. This one's from like the Siege of Mandalore, or it was that one arc where they were fighting Darth Maul. It was a whole thing. This one was actually a Walmart exclusive, but the Walmart that I go to is really bad about getting the latest, greatest figures on the shelf, so I ended up having to order her off of eBay. And that is going to be it for that shelf. Hopefully my battery holds up. Bear with me, guys. Now the next shelf we're going to, this is an odd shelf. This is my Bad Batch / Rebels / Rogue One shelf, because all of them are on here. Thankfully I was able to get them all on here. So all the way in the back here we got the Bad Batch, and I got the full team minus Echo. I still didn't get the Bad Batch Echo. Got Tech, Hunter, Crosshair, and Wrecker, and Omega somewhere. Where is she? There she is. There's Omega. Now they made some other versions of these characters, but I'm probably not gonna get them. I might get, they made one other Omega figure, and I might get her only because that one makes her look a little bit more tactical. It's like she can actually go out and do stuff with the guys. I got some Imperials in the back here. Got Officer Rampart with another Imperial officer. I do not remember her name. I think she was from the Kenobi series. Of course, I got Stormtrooper, and you're going to be seeing these Stormtroopers throughout the collection because I got a good bit of them so I could scatter them out. Got the Imperial Jet Trooper, and I got Stormtrooper with a rocket launcher. I believe this guy's from the Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor games. Moving down, I got Hondo. I don't remember what version of Hondo this is. I think this was like some special. I think this one's actually based off of, because they got some Star Wars attraction, like Disneyland Star Wars attraction, and I think they have like a Hondo animatronic, and I think this one's more based off of that because he doesn't quite look like the one from Clone Wars. That's why I say that. But I just really wanted Hondo for my shelf. And over here we got Rebels Ahsoka with the other Rebels team. We got Sabine Wren over here. We got Ezra. Now this Ezra figure is technically from the Ahsoka series, but I went ahead and put him over here with my Rebels team. Of course we got Kanan Jarrus, got Hera, and we got Zeb over here. Zeb is a very big figure. I really like how he turned out. Then over here I got my Elite Squad Trooper, technically not a Clone Trooper, just has Clone Trooper looking armor. Got Darth Maul, This one is technically from Star Wars Battlefront, but it's a look that's inspired from his look in the Rebel show when he made his appearance in the Rebel show. Got some more stormtroopers here. This one's a Jedha stormtrooper. Not Jedha. Is it? Yeah, it's Jedha. Okay, from Rogue One. Yeah. And I got some Death Troopers with Director Orson Krennic, also from Rogue One. Got a Imperial officer from the Andor series. But K2SO is so tall, he's sticking out right there. K2SO is also one of the last figures that I got from Toys R Us. I got him along with Commander Gree. Got a Shore Trooper, and these are the stormtroopers that were on Scarif at the end of Rogue One. Of course, I got Saw Gerrera, also from Rogue One. Senator Mon Mothma, who's also from Rogue One. I'm gonna be honest, I got another character from Rogue One, and I feel a little bad because I cannot remember her name off the top of my head. I literally have no remembrance as to what her name is. So sadly, we're just gonna have to keep moving on here. Probably the only character on my shelf that I don't remember the name of off the top of my head. But we're moving right along. We got some more Andor figures. We got Bix, and then of course K2SO, and now we're getting more into Rogue One. So I got Rogue One Cassian Andor, got Jyn Erso, got Chirrut Imwe, got Baze, and I think the last character that I need is there was an Imperial pilot named, I think his name was Bodhi. I think he's the only Rogue One. Well, that's a lie. He's not the only Rogue One character that I don't have. I still need to get Galen Erso, which is Jyn Erso's father. So I'll probably put them in this empty spot right here next to this mouse droid. But yeah, guys, now we're gonna actually start getting into actual original trilogy. So down here, this is my Jedi Fallen Order / A New Hope / Force Unleashed shelf. Let's go ahead and start up top. I got some Purge Troopers, along with some, I believe they're like Imperial Senate guards. They're from the Force Unleashed series. And of course I got Starkiller, who was actually in that fan vote thing that I was telling you guys about. He ended up not winning, but thankfully that showed the company that people really wanted Starkiller, so they ended up making him anyway. And over here I got I believe this is the second sister. She's a Sith Inquisitor. And then I got Cal Kestis from the Jedi Fallen Order series as an Inquisitor. I thought it was a pretty unique figure, even though it was kind of like a vision thing, or like if he turned to the dark side or whatnot. Got a Night Brother, who's also from that game. We're going to go ahead and move on down. Now, I got these two Stormtroopers. I got one Stormtrooper, one Sand Trooper. Both of these are the original sculpts that they used to use for the Stormtroopers back when they first came out. I got this Sand Trooper at a convention. I think he went for about 20. So a really decent figure. I like him a lot. And of course I got Stormtrooper. This is a Death Star. I think this is a Death Star Trooper. I want to get at least one more to go with my Grand Moff Tarkin. Probably one of my favorite officers that I have in my collection. Probably next to General Veers, which we'll get to General Veers in a minute. Of course, got Darth Vader. Have to have Darth Vader. Over here I got Luke Skywalker and Ben Kenobi. And this is the newer sculpt for Luke. Back when he first came out, they gave him like a soft goods shirt, and it just looked very weird and poofy, so I really like this one a lot better for Luke. And moving right along, we got Princess Leia with some Rebel Troopers. And it was kind of the same deal. This is a new sculpt for Princess Leia, because originally her dress was like completely soft goods, which worked in some cases and then other cases not so much. So I really like the way they did it, because now like the way her hood is, it actually like rests, looks like it rests on top of her head, so it looks more like how it did in the film. Now with these Rebel Troopers, I was planning on getting one more Rebel Trooper, but what I was going to do is I was going to take the Rebel Trooper and I was going to paint his shirt, this blue shirt he has, I was going to paint it red. Now, if you know, you know, you can probably think of a video game that had a Rebel Trooper that had a red shirt instead of a blue one. So if you know, you know. If you don't, then I'm sorry. And moving down here, I got some Rebel pilots. I got Wedge and Pilot Luke. And for those of you who might not be able to notice, my Wedge is actually broken. He is missing one hand, but the way I have him, his arms folded, you can't even tell. And moving right along, I got C-3PO and R2. Now this R2 is actually, a lot of people are talking about how like this R2 isn't quite made to scale, and they made a new R2 on like a slightly more bigger body. I'm okay with this one for now, but I'm probably gonna get another R2 to maybe go on my Empire shelf. And here we got Yavin Ceremony Luke and Yavin Ceremony Leia. Got Han Solo, of course, and this is the older Han Solo. They made a newer one, and when I get him, I will be doing a comparison video. And over here we have, I'm not really sure the actual name of this droid, but it was that droid that was supposed to be like torturing Princess Leia. They didn't show that in the movie, thankfully, but anyway. Over here we got Greedo, who's only known for getting killed. And then we got this guy, Dr. You know, I might have been lying earlier when I said that there was only one character that I couldn't remember the name of off the top of my head. But you better watch out for this guy, because he has the death sentence on multiple systems. I didn't get him and his buddy, but well, I got him. This guy I got at a Ollie's. You know, good stuff cheap. Sometimes not so good stuff cheap, but anyway. Then the last one I got on my shelf is my Cal Kestis from Jedi Survivor. Really like this figure. I recently did a stop motion with him, for those of you that have seen that, so I really like the articulation on this guy. I think that came together pretty well. And my camera's about to run out of battery, guys, so I'm gonna go charge it, and then we're gonna go down to my Empire Strikes Back shelf, and I'll show you that. Hey guys, I have returned, and I am here with the Empire Strikes Back shelf. You guys can probably notice the giant Wampa back there. This is actually the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Wampa, but I got him off of eBay. I believe this is the one where you can actually remove one of his arms, kind of like, you know, in the movie whenever Luke chopped it off, but I've kept it on there. For whatever reason, it doesn't want to pop out, so I'm not going to force it. I'm going to take you guys here. I got some Rebel Hoth Troopers in the back here. I might get another one just because it's a pretty fun figure to army build. And I can make some small customization changes to kind of make each of them kind of look and feel a little different. And then of course I got Hoth, Han, Luke, and Leia. And I got this is the Snow Speeder Luke. This is the one, looks kind of like Pilot Luke, but you can tell it's a little different the way the jumpsuit is. And over here we got our bounty hunters. Got Dengar, Bosk, and IG-88. They did make a couple of the other bounty hunters that made a small appearance in Empire Strikes Back, but I wasn't really interested in getting those. Maybe I'll get them at some point, because I do need to kind of fill up this shelf. And up here, got General Veers with the AT-AT driver, the AT-AT driver. I still need to get some Imperial Snowtroopers. I have no Snowtroopers, so that's a bit of a bummer. One of my personal favorites is Carbonized Han Solo. And over here I have, this is a special edition of Boba Fett. It's like the carbonized edition. You can kind of see it has like kind of more like this glossy shine on it. So I went ahead and put this one on my Empire shelf, and I'm going to show you guys a little later because this Boba Fett has a different sculpt than the Boba Fett that's on my Return of the Jedi shelf, but we'll talk more about that later. Of course, you got a couple stormtroopers. Darth Vader, Empire Strikes Back Darth Vader. You got Luke in his Bespin outfit, and then we got Han and Leia. I got Chewbacca. Now, this Chewbacca was actually a Amazon exclusive. He was like Empire Strikes Back Amazon exclusive, and he came with like a little net that you could put C-3PO in. He also came with C-3PO because, you know, in Empire he gets broken apart and Chewie's carrying him on his back. That's what this Chewie is from, and the C-3PO that I have up here, I just put him together and displayed him. This is pretty much the only Chewie that I have. They have come out with some other Chewies that have better articulation, so I might get one to go on my New Hope and Return of the Jedi shelf, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Of course, got Lando Calrissian, and then down here I got Luke in his Dagobah training appearance, and then I got Master Yoda. So this is, I guess, a more accurate size, a more accurate scale to the rest of the Black Series figures compared to that one Yoda that I have up top. But they made a prequel Yoda that came in a 2-pack that was about this size. So at some point I would like to get that Yoda, and they're probably going to re-release him as a single. So I'm not too concerned about getting him right now. Just gotta be patient. Alright guys, so that's gonna do it for the left side. Now we gotta go up top over here to the right side, so let's go up there. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen. This is my Return of the Jedi shelf. Could also use some filling up, but anyway. So over here we got the Palace Guard, Lando Calrissian, him in his disguise. We got Leia in her bounty hunter disguise. Got Luke Skywalker. This is his appearance in the beginning of the movie. And we got Admiral Akbar. It's a drop! Got General Lando Calrissian. This is probably one of my personal favorite Landos. This is probably my favorite Lando that I out of the 3 that I have. Imperial Scout Trooper. Now this sniper rifle, I believe canonically, I think it's like the plasma cannon or whatever. At least that's what it looks like. I pretty much gave him the sniper rifle just because when I think about Scout Troopers, I think about them having sniper rifles. It's mostly because I play Battlefront, a lot of Battlefront. And most of the time, they always make the Scout Trooper like the sniper. So I kind of associate that with him. Then over here we got the Gamorrean Guard. I think this was a deluxe figure. I only have one at the moment. I might get another one. It depends whether or not I able to get my hands on a Jabba, which they haven't re-released Jabba in a very long time, so who knows. But we got Bib Fortuna over here. And this is the Return of the Jedi Boba Fett. Now you can kind of tell that he has a slightly different body than the one I showed you guys earlier. And I do kind of prefer this one. I believe the new Jango Fett that they're supposed to be making might use some parts from this new Boba Fett body, but we'll have to wait and see when he comes out. Give him a little pistol there. I think that pistol actually comes from another Boba Fett action figure. Over here we got the Imperial Guard to protect Emperor Palpatine. Now I only have one Imperial Guard right now, and it really bothers me because it's like I need another Imperial Guard on the other side over here. And I'll get around to getting him at some point. Now let's move over to the Endor crew. Got Endor, Luke, Han, and Leia. One thing I like about Luke and Leia is, you know, you can take their ponchos off and it's almost like they have another figure. Of course, this is the Rebel Commando. Now, one thing I like about the Rebel Commandos, they actually come with different face plates. They got 2 different face plates, so you could kind of like make another trooper. For whatever reason, I was never able to really pop the face plate off of this figure, but I was gonna get another one anyway, so I can kind of play around with him and see if I can do it with that other one. And of course, we got the Ewoks. I do not remember the names of all these guys. I remember the teeny tiny one's name is Wicked. That's the only one I can remember off the top of my head. Alright guys, we're gonna go ahead and head down to one of my more bigger shows, the Mandalorian show. I could call it the Mandalorian slash, you know, but I feel like the other figures that are on it aren't enough. It's mostly a lot of Mandalorian. There's some Ahsoka, some Book of Boba Fett. Got Tusken Chieftain, this Pike Soldier. Then we got Morgan Elsbeth over here, and then her like undead soldiers. This, I can't remember this stormtrooper's name, but for those of you that watch the Ahsoka show, she can like reanimate stormtroopers. We got Marok over here, Sith Inquisitor. Another zombie. Now this droid, I think that's a assassin droid. I think it's the HK unit, last time I checked. And then down here we got Dave Filoni, who is dressed up as a New Republic pilot. We got the heavy infantry Mandalorian. Got a lot of Mandalorians, guys. Death Watch Mandalorian. Then we got Bo-Katan. We got Koska Reeves. There we go, Koska Reeves. I noticed when they make Mandalorian figures, they make a lot of blue ones. Not that I have a problem with the blue ones, because it makes sense. But you know, there are other Mandalorians that were featured in like shows and stuff that weren't blue. So if we could kindly get some more of those, I would greatly appreciate it. Then we got the Bounty Hunter, Fennec Shand, and Black Chrysanthemum. Got the Armorer. And of course, you got Din Djarin, the Mandalorian himself. Baby Yoda here. Uh-oh, I'm starting to forget some of these guys' names. I'm always so good at remembering the names when I'm watching the show, and then I forget some of them. This is a Grief Karga. Now this figure, I've been trying to get her for a while, because I think they only released her like twice. And this is the original one I found on Amazon. Cara Dune. So this is Quill, also from the Mandalorian series. Ooh. Never realized how many Star Wars characters there are. Like, I know a lot of them by name, but for whatever reason, some of them get lost in the cracks. We're gonna keep moving here. We've got Ahsoka from the Ahsoka series. I do have, like, this is like the white version with like her white robes. I have one that doesn't have white robes, but I decided to not display that one because I'm going to use that one for a custom. Now we're getting into the Beskar armored troopers. So here we got the Beskar armored Imperial jet trooper. We got the Dark Trooper. We got Moff Gideon over here. This is the first Moff Gideon figure that they came out with. We got I cannot remember what this stormtrooper is technically called. He comes with like a mortar cannon. I got 2 of them. You can see one down there. It comes with like a mortar cannon. I can't remember what the official name of these stormtroopers is called. I don't think it's infantry, but you don't usually see stormtroopers with like the yellow stripes on them, so I thought that was pretty cool. Got the Imperial Praetorian Guard, which I like a lot. I like this one a lot better than the Praetorian Guards they had in the sequels. And then we got the Beskar Armored Moff Gideon. Then moving over to the far right over here, I got a couple of Skeleton Crew figures. We got Wim, Fern, and KB. There was one other kid that he looked like a blue elephant. Didn't get him yet. Need to complete the whole squad, I guess. And then this right here, this is like a little canister. If you guys recognize this from the Mandalorian show, it's supposed to have like Beskar like bricks in it. And we're gonna go ahead and keep moving on down to my last shelf, which is my sequel trilogy shelf. Now, the sequel trilogy wasn't like one of my favorite movies out of the Star Wars series, but they made some pretty decent figures, some pretty unique figures, and they did have some pretty cool concepts, some pretty cool ideas. So I was like, sure, why not? Let's get them. I think some of my favorite ones is probably the Sith Troopers. This is the Sith Trooper, then they have a Jet Trooper variant. I got one Praetorian Guard. I think they made another one, but he was in like some exclusive 4-pack. I don't know if they're ever gonna get around to making all of them. And I also got some First Order Troopers. I think those ones are pretty cool. Got the Riot Trooper, you got your default, Stormtrooper, and then I think this one is the one from Last Jedi. They're on crate. Got First Order Captain or Officer, Jet Trooper, and then got Captain Phasma over here. And over here I have my Kylo Ren. Now this is actually the Star Killer base version. I think they call it Star Killer base version because he's supposed to have some snow on his robes. Well, you can't really see it because it's at the bottom. This is one of the first Star Wars figures that I got. I got this one at a Kmart. For those of you who remember Kmart, they were closing and they were having a sale. So I got that Star Killer for pretty cheap. We got Darkside Rey, who's kind of more like a traffic cone, but hey, she's just supposed to sit there anyway. Then I got my Episode 9 Kylo Ren. And down here I have probably one of my favorite things about the sequel trilogy, BB-8. He's the real MVP. And we'll get into our Reys. Now, I don't really know what they were doing with that first Rey, but ever since then, they've made some real improvements to the sculpt and the posability and all that. So we got, I think this is Ahch-To. I think that's the planet that she was on in Last Jedi. Then we got her appearance from the end of that movie, and it goes into Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. This figure was probably the best Rey figure that they made. Of course, we got FN2187 back there. The funny thing about this Finn figure, I got him for 3 cents. 3 cents at a Walmart. He was on the shelf for that long. He was 3 cents. I remember asking a Walmart employee if they could scan it so I could see how much it was, and they said, oh, it's 3 cents. And I was like, wow. So yeah, I call him 3 cent Finn. Over here we got Poe Dameron. I still need to get him and his pilot outfit, although the face sculpt might not be as good. And then over here, probably got another pretty unique character that they didn't do anything with, Zuri Bliss. One cool thing I like about this figure is you can actually pop her visor off, and it reveals her face behind it, so I thought that was kind of cool. Got Old Man Han hiding back there. I still need to get Leia and Luke to go ahead and complete that little team there. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for my Star Wars collection. I do need to fill out a couple more of these shelves, but I'm closing in on having my definitive Star Wars collection, which kind of brings me to another thing that I was planning on talking about. So moving forward, guys, I am almost exclusively focusing on my Star Wars collection. So you guys probably aren't going to be seeing any videos of me collecting anything else really, unless it's maybe something for stop motion purposes. I'm also going to be doing a lot more stop motions moving forward. Not that you guys aren't going to see more videos like this. I'm not saying I'm not going to do those anymore. I am. I'm just not going to be doing them as frequently. But I'm going to go ahead and stop rambling. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Comment down below what your favorite Star Wars Black Series figure is. And also be sure to follow me on my socials, where you can stay updated on plans for videos, as well as see exclusive photos and videos that you will not find on the channel. Alright guys, till then, be sure to like, subscribe, and go to my channel to check out other videos. Catch you later.